The following program is recorded content created by the Truth Network.
Big $1 trillion question. What is the role of government? Now, as soon as you start getting mad and saying, we're tired of government, get them out of my life, well, you did drive on a road to get to a place where you're listening to this show right now, and you did check your mail today or yesterday, and so you are grateful for some of those services, but the question is the government your servant, or do you serve the government? Is it your master? And I'm so glad that a woman of God who grew up in a pastor's home, of all things, Sandra J. Adams, wrote this book by that title, Government, Servant or Master. Now, here's the subtitle, Exposing America's Runaway Bureaucracy and Abuse of Its Citizens. Sandra, God bless you. Why did you write this book?
I wrote it because I actually lived in the country of Ukraine back from 92 to 2000, experienced government control, and when I came back to the United States in 2000, we got involved in politics. 4 years ago, I started working for Congress, and not until then did I realize that actually America is also a tyrannical government in many ways by how the federal agencies are abusing its citizens. I would never have known that if I had not worked for Congress. And they abuse the citizens by regulating them. They execute the laws that they make, and then they also adjudicate if they disobey those laws. And that's actually all three powers that our founding fathers said should be separated. And when I got into Congress, I realized that there was a problem, but I didn't know why it was happening or how it was happening. So that is why I wrote the book, because I wanted to expose how our government is abusing its citizens. And I did do a lot of research. I started researching and began to understand where it started.
I want to break it down a little bit chapter by chapter, but I want to go back to something you said that's real important. Not just serving in Congress here, but being in the Ukraine, seeing an entire Soviet bloc destroyed, devastated by communism.
Yes.
So many young people on these campuses are saying, we want socialism, we want communism, we want Marxism. But you have a little message for them. What is that message? Being over there and seeing it firsthand.
Well, do you want every minute detail of your life to be controlled by the government? I don't think you would like that. When we were there, we couldn't buy flour, sugar, oil, or gas because we did not have a ration card. We were not, unless we registered ourselves and our 6 children with the government, we could not get a ration card.
Well, so it's really neat and cute for like Taylor Swift to get up there and say, vote for the left, vote for the Socialist Party. And, you know, these big country western stars, maybe these Hollywood stars, they get up there and they slam the right, the conservatives, they say vote for the left. But I don't think Taylor Swift, with her wealth, will ever have to wait in a bread line should our country go the way that she's voting, right?
No, I don't believe so. Yeah. Thank God that Trump's in now. We are not going to have that problem.
Well, we're not. She went farther than I do. You know, mention the candidate, but I mean, we had a big election. Elections have consequences. One party was running more of a socialist kind of the government is going to be your savior. The other party is running on let's get the government out of the way and the government works for you, which I think that everyone agreed, Democrat, Republican, left or right, we should agree that this country, we're taxpayers, but we employ them, correct?
That is absolutely correct. The problem that is happening now, though, with the administrative state, and you may not even know what that means, but the administrative state is all of the hundreds of federal agencies that have been given permission by our personal representatives, Congress, back in 1946, they were given permission to make the rules and the laws and execute them and then judge us. And they do that in many, many ways, and it's not okay.
Wow. So you got 8 chapters in this book. Do you think you can do the one-sentence wonder on Truth Talk? If I say the name of the chapter, 1 through 8, you can give me a one-sentence synopsis of each chapter, a quickie. What do you think? Okay. Sandra Adams, you're on the stand. Your book, Government, Servant or Master. I'm going to say the titles of the chapter. Give us a one. Now, we don't want to say too much, of course, right? Because we want listeners to get this book, bless their families with it, their pastors, read the book. Chapter 1, Government, Servant or Master.
I describe a little bit of my experience living in Ukraine and being under the control of a government there.
Okay, Chapter 2, The Founding Fathers' Design. Part 1, Declaration of Independence. Part 2, Constitution.
I talk about how important it is for us to defend our country, but if we don't know where we started, with the Declaration of the Independence and our Constitution, what kind of a country we have, then we cannot defend it.
Just reading the founding documents, you've got a whole chapter on it with 2 sections. Wonderful. Chapter 3, evolution from limited government to the administrative state.
I describe in abbreviated way how we got to a limited government to where we are today.
Wow. Chapter 4, the behemoth. I got to know what that's about.
Yes. This is about 9 months of research because I was asking, who are these agencies? Where do they get their authority? And I described, I listed them and did a research and listed every single agency I could possibly find and information about that agency.
Okay. Chapter 5, real stories of agency abuse.
These are actual people who live in the district where I was the district director, and they actually called us because they were being abused by an agency. It could be any agency, and saying the agency would not answer their phone calls nor their emails. Could we please help them?
Oh my. Chapter 6, what can you do?
This is giving you some instructions as an American citizen, what you can do to get involved and on a local level, state or federal.
All right, Chapter 7, what can Congress do?
This is a very interesting part. Congress is the one who gave them the power. They are the ones who can take it away or limit it, and that is what that's about and what they can do to do that.
Okay, one more chapter. It's the Grand Slam. The author, Sandra J. Adams, the book, Government, Servant, or Master, Exposing America's Runaway Bureaucracy and Abuse of Its Citizens. God has put us in this great country as citizens of heaven primarily, but we also have one foot on this earth as citizens, and so how can we be responsible? This is a wonderful book pointing people to the truth of that. Chapter 8, final thoughts. Is there still hope? Sandra, give us hope. What's this final chapter about as we wrap up Truth Talk, this segment?
First of all, there is still hope, because as long as we have our faith in God and we'll go and do the work, read the Declaration, understand where we came from, read the Constitution, know your rights and responsibilities, and act on them, there is hope in this country.
All right, that's Sandra J. Adams, and she saved you an expensive plane ticket, passport, and trip to the Soviet bloc because she went there herself with her husband, and they saw firsthand the eroding, devastating effects of communism, long lines, bread lines, rations, all that. She came back. She served in Congress. She saw our government going that way, and she's written a book to really wake us up, and especially believers. Wake up, get out there. Now, how can people, Sandra Adams, get this wonderful book, Government, Servant, or Master? What's the best way they can get your book and learn more about you and your ministry? In Virginia, in, I believe, Bedford, Cousin Brent Epperson's got some great radio stations there. We've got Truth Network 93.7 FM covering that area. But how can people learn more about this wonderful book?
You can go to governmentservantormaster.com and order the book there. And you can also download for free the research I did on the agencies to show you how large and out of control our government is.
Okay, it's getting loud here. A lot of folks are eating ice cream at this conference we're at in Washington, D.C. There's an interesting mood in the air, but there's a lot of folks praying that this next regime will truly stick to freedom. Yes. And remind everyone and live out the truth that the government is here to serve us and not the other way around. And your words of that, if you could talk to Donald J. Trump right now, our incoming president, what message would you give him about holding to all the things you're talking about, that, you know, God-given rights and the freedom that we should have and the government getting out of the way? What would you say to him if you were sitting here next to him right now, Sandra?
I would say I love what you're doing with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, but you need to make sure that you bring somebody in who has been on the ground with the people and understand the agencies that can be helpful and those that are absolutely a waste. And I know they're studying that, but that's what they need to do.
Wow. Yeah, one of those famous words, one of our speakers said it tonight, I believe Tony Perkins, he said, Ronald Reagan said, the scariest words you can ever hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Watch out, right? Yeah. Sandra, thanks for writing this book. Hit the website one more time, will you?
Governmentservantormaster.com.
Governmentservantormaster.com. Sandra J. Adams. We're going to make a podcast out of this to expose more folks, and they can pass this along. God bless you. Thanks for being on Truth Talk, and I hope to have you on again. I'm excited to get more into this book.
Thank you so much for having me.
Truth Talk Live.
Another program powered by the Truth Network.